All right, guys. So let's get started. The woman of the hour is the beautiful, the smart, the talented, the most amazing makeup artist and skincare professional in the tri-state area, okay, here in Pennsylvania, Dana. She has been in the industry for 26 years. And tonight, guys, she's going to share all her knowledge with you. So listen in and take it away, Dana.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. If you see me looking down, I have notes, so I just don't want to forget anything. So I apologize if I look away, but I have you guys on gallery view so I can see you guys. Because I hate when I look like I'm talking to myself. So yeah, I'm Dana. I've been doing makeup and skincare for 26 years now. I've been with New Skin for 8 years, and I'm honored to be here to kind of give you guys some insight on how skincare and wellness all time to come together in a sense because I mean, as we get older, I don't know if you're in menopause or perimenopause, and if you've ever heard of like going through that phase of life, it's like going through puberty all over again. And what happens during puberty? Our skin wreaks havoc, right? So this is kind of the same thing that's happening as we get older. So like for instance, like if you've ever looked in the, have you ever looked in the mirror and like thought like, oh, something's not right, it's not working. I need like just things are just not looking the same. Things aren't working. You just feel like you look different all of a sudden and your skin's just starting to change and you just don't know why. You're using the same products, nothing's changed. But your skin tends to get a little bit more dull, tired, just feels off sometimes, right? Yeah, 100%. Been there, done that, living the experience myself, being perimenopause. So I am living through it just like everybody else. And I think this is a great opportunity to kind of open up the conversation of how we can understand our skin a little bit better and through the eyes of wellness. So after going through the change, what happens is with our hormones, estrogen drops and testosterone can become more prominent. And really that shows up big time on people's skin. And people don't really know this when they're going through it because they think of just their hormones. Skin's kind of like the last thing people think about, right? You don't really think about your skin until you actually start feeling it or seeing results. So like what happens with estrogen is the part of our skin that makes our skin plumped, it's hydrated, it gives that firmness and that softness to our skin. So as we get older, if we lose estrogen, it starts to decline, you experience more dryness, your skin can be thinned out, you lose elasticity and just looks dull. And then what happens is when testosterone goes up, your skin can get oily. This is where adult acne comes into play. So like the testosterone spikes when you're going through the change, and this is where adult acne comes in because your testosterone is definitely at its a little bit higher than it used to be. So this is why people in their late 30s, early 40s experience adult acne. Um, and what happens is when testosterone, comes into play, you start feeling a little bit more congested. You're breaking out, especially like around the jawline. These are the key areas so that it's hormone, anything from like the jawline down. Your pores look a little bit larger, you're oily, and really, like, no matter what, if you're oily, dry, acneic, like all those things, you can still, at this age, you can be dry, you can have dry skin and have experience breakouts all at once. Like your skin is just doing all sorts of different things and it's wreaking havoc on our skin because really like our hormones show up on our skin mostly. So really what you want to do during this time is really support that barrier and using ingredients that are going to really kind of support you in this phase of life. Um, but so what happens is when skin, like everything shows up on the surface, what we're going through internally, like, that saying like you are what you eat, that kind of thing. It's really the same thing, but it's definitely like more towards like hormones. So if you're experiencing any kind of like inflamed rosacea, that could also be a gut issue. So most of the people that high experience with rosacea that have like more like inflamed on their cheeks, their nose, and everything like that, that's an internal gut issue sometimes for some people. So every someone that experienced rosacea has different levels. And that type of rosacea is definitely more internal. So it can be due to like inflammation in the gut. So I will always recommend the gut health drink for people that have that kind of rosacea. And collagen is a great supporter for that as well. Because hormones put so much stress on our body and it's just showing up in our skin. So even during weight loss, a lot of people are doing GLP-1s, and what happens during weight loss, we end up feeling like our skin loses its plumpness, its volume, it looks a little bit more droopy, the elasticity is going away. And then, collagen is definitely less as we get older. So our cell production starts to slow down tremendously as we get older. And there's ways to support that cell turnover and make it go faster without even using too many harsh ingredients as well. So we'll get into that in a minute, but cell turnover is definitely key. If you experiencing like a lot more textured skin when you put makeup on, larger pores look more apparent, it's because your dead skin is sitting on the surface of your skin and you're just accentuating it with makeup. So that is one thing. And then stress. I mean, who's had like, dark circles and, breakouts and stuff like that, and everything from lack of sleep and stress. It all shows up on your skin, right? So here's the issue with most people is that they tend to only treat the surface. They're not treating the root of the problem. And the root of the problem could be one of those things. It could be just, you're going through a huge change in life. You're doing with weight loss. You have a lot of stress in your life, a lot of, maybe lack of sleep. So these are all things that come into play in our skin. And most people are more apt to do a topical, thinking that that's what they need when they really need to treat the root of the problem, right? So, stop. So basically, skin over time, it's nothing you're doing wrong. It's just something that's just happening. And then as we get older, a lot of people confuse dehydration and dryness. Everyone after a certain age, when your cells turnover starts to get lower and lower, you're naturally dehydrated, whether you're normal, oily, dry, everything. That just is going to be a phase of life. We're always going to be dehydrated after a certain age. And that tends to be in like 40s and up. So remember that you're probably not dry, you're probably just dehydrated. So there's definitely going to be ways to support that. Obviously, we're going to want to up our intake of water. That would be really great for you to do on top of like, people have been doing a lot of, the electrolytes, things like that, just to get that hydration, and those things actually will start to show through your skin. And then one most common thing that people will use is overuse of actives, meaning like retinols, AHA, BHAs, like vitamin C's, but they're overusing them without the support. So many people have bad experiences with these ingredients because they're not supporting their skin with other steps. So I've come into a lot of contact with people that want the retinol or want vitamin C and want all these active ingredients, but they don't wash their face. They don't use a proper moisturizer. So having a proper way to wash your face and a proper moisturizer to support these actives are going to be the way you want to use them. You don't want to just go, oh, I have dry skin, I have oil, I have fine lines and wrinkles. I need like, retinol like ASAP because that's going to solve all my problems. Well, that's not really going to be the case unless you're not supporting it. So the one thing I will say is a lot of people will just automatically go to that. So, we definitely don't want to do that. We want to actually go through your routine and actually do the things that are going to help support that, because then you won't have a bad experience of it. And then over time, your skin is going to look nice and beautiful and glowy because they're going to do their job right. So one thing about I want to touch on is with skincare would be a lot of this has to do with wellness. So what happens with skincare? Yes, we can support it with the skincare, the proper ingredients, but a lot of people neglect the things that we can take internally that can help with our supporting this process of life. Meaning like taking a proper collagen, taking the gut health drink, taking hydrating yourself really well, eating, having a really well balanced diet on top of anything that can fill in that nutrition gap, like anything, like we do a lot of antioxidants on the skin. So it only makes sense to have more antioxidants in our body and to absorb it. So one thing that that's the main ingredient. Anything that has antioxidant in it is what you really want to ingest. And basically it's going to help um it's going to aid you within, within inside and out. So that's one thing that's going to be able to support not only your skin, but even everything else like hair, skin, and nails. It's going to be um, part of your life where your skin, your hair, everything starts to dwindles and gets a little bit, like starts to, we lose hair. So if we're not supporting the inside, these things are not going to matter if we're doing just topicals. So the combination of those two together are going to really help support your aging process. And obviously, inflammation is going to be another thing that a lot of people come into play. So if you're not supporting it with the proper, nutrition, the proper supplements, those things are going to really wreak havoc on our skin and help and accentuate our, what we don't want to accentuate on our skin. And then stress level. Obviously, stress is going to give you sensitivity to products. It's going to give you sensitivity to food. It's going to give you breakouts. It's going to start to age you even faster. Stress is the number one thing that can really cause havoc on your skin. I know a lot of people, it's hard to manage stress, but whatever you could do, whether that's working out, walking, whatever you could do to help reduce your stress level will actually help your skin tremendously, believe it or not, because stress can really help could speed up the aging process majorly. It can make you lose hair. Everything can really affect your skin when it comes to stress. So, so simple things, like I said, you can shift is drinking more water, adding those electrolytes if you can't get that all the, the major amount of water that you need. Everyone's water intake will be different. I know there's probably calculations you can have, like an app, who knows, they'll probably have something out there, but also one other thing you could do is support your skin barrier. You don't have to strip your skin all the time. Sometimes less is more as we get older. That term is key. So pick what you want to try out. And always when you're starting a skincare routine, for the one thing I can encourage you is to not implement all new products at once. If you are implementing a product, a 5-step routine or something that's like, new to you, always do one product at a time. Give it a day or two to see if your skin's having a reaction to it, and then move on to the next. You never want to start a routine with like 5 new products all at once, because if you have a reaction, you don't know what that reaction is to. So always to just do one thing at a time, give it day by day and see what happens. All right. You should know within a day or two if you have a reaction to something, especially if you're sensitive to products. The most important thing is to be consistent. If you're not consistent with your wellness, your nutrition, your skincare, it's not going to work. No one's perfect. We're all going to fall off and get back on the horse once in a while. And life happens because life just lives. But you do your best, because honestly, you'd be surprised if you stick with it and actually stick with your routine as long as you could. And you look back at a picture of you like 5 years from now or whatever, you'll be surprised that little bit that you're doing can add up to a big difference. And you'll be like, wow, my skin did really improve. I have a better glow now. And, so definitely consistency is going to pay off in the long run. And you have to remember, this is not Amazon Prime. We're not going to get good skin within overnight. Like, you have to be patient with it. You have to give your ingredients at least 8 to 10 weeks to actually work for you to see a difference. So that is definitely something that you need to be patient with. You cannot expect, just like a diet, you can't eat healthy for one day and expect to be thin the next day. It's just going to be time. It's going to take time. So with that, you don't need a 10-step routine either. You can keep it simple by just doing a really nice, simple wash, tone, moisturize, and add maybe an active serum in there at night. Perfect routine as we get older. We don't have to overcomplicate it. Just as long as you're doing less is more, and that's going to be definitely key. And there's we can probably get into a little bit of what ingredients don't like each other, because that is definitely one thing a lot of people don't know, is what ingredients to avoid when when it comes to anti-aging products. Like vitamin C and retinol, you can't use them together. They don't like each other. They'll cancel each other out. Make sure you're reading ingredients. That's one thing you want to make sure. Alcohol, if that's one of the first main ingredients in the actual ingredient, you don't want to use it. Alcohol, high alcohol content means more dehydration to the skin. So we want to keep the alcohol levels very low. And remember, consistency is key. So for most women, journey's a little bit different. It's not a one size fits all. Like I said, your internal health affects your skin different than my internal health affects my skin. So you have to kind of understand that. And if you are feeling like you need a change and you need to talk about like what's going on, whoever invited you to this call has a skin assessment that I curated and could actually go through this whole questionnaire with you, and they can help you formulate a routine that will support your aging process. It'll support your skin. It'll support your wellness all in one shot. So if you are interested, you can always reach out to them and talk to them about your skin assessment. So I think that's all I have. I mean, I really appreciate you guys letting me talk. I think I was 15 minutes, so but we can open up for questions, I guess. So if anyone wants to unmute, you're more than welcome to unmute and ask a question. But I hope I covered a pretty large topic in 15 minutes, which is very hard to do. So I hope you took a little nugget here and there, and never maybe do this another time. So, oh, thank you. All right. Anyone want to mute? I don't have the will. I don't know have the ability to unmute you if you're trying to unmute. So, or you can ask a question in the chat. That's fine too. We can give a minute. But while we're waiting, raise your hand if you found this a little valuable. Okay. All right, cool. All right, good. Thank you. All right. Oh, thanks.
What is one skincare product that do you believe there is one skincare product that every woman should have as a staple in their arsenal of skincare goodies?
Well, that's hard. Um, well, that is, I mean, that's kind of hard because I will say the one staple for me would be not necessarily a product, but it would be the device, like the Lumi Spa. Like if anything, that's it. Because um it does pretty much like everything we want to do out of a cream without having to use one. And if you're using a retinol or anything like that without supporting your skin properly and properly cleansing it, it's just throwing money down the drain to me. So it's important to support your skin with a nice wash. And even if you can't afford the Lumi Spa, the vitamin C wash is definitely a good alternative. So that's a good stepping stone to an anti-aging wash. So anyone else? Okay. Do we have anything?
All right. Well, thank you, Dana. And thank you, everyone, for hopping on. If you have anyone who would want the recording, we will get that for you soon. And stay tuned. The next Women's Wellness will be next week, every Wednesday. We'd like to bring you guys some value of what's going on in the women's health, wellness, and skincare space. And we love to have you here. So we'll see you next Wednesday, guys. Thanks again for being here, Dana.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, I took
Thank
so many notes.
Oh,
Incredible
good.
job.
Oh, good. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.